What's going on, guys? Justin with 1791. Thanks for watching. Today we're offering a new installment to our educational series, and today specifically we are talking about the top 5 things to look for in a quality gun belt. So let's get into it. All right, so to preface this conversation, before I get into the top 5 things to look for in a quality gun belt, I want to first preface this with why. So why is it important to look for these key features in a not just a regular trouser belt, but a quality gun belt? So first off, I imagine at some point in your life, you've all walked into like a department store, right? And you see like a rack of trouser belts. And those trouser belts have like all these different styles and they look kind of neat. They're oftentimes very comfortable for just everyday holding up your pants type of work. But that's all the work that that belt is designed to do. A quality gun belt is designed to do those things plus more. What do we mean by plus more? What we mean by plus more is to hold up the weight of self-defense implements that you might be carrying inside the waistband or outside the waistband. A regular old department store belt is just not designed to do that work. So it's important to look for certain features that set a belt apart from a department store belt that make it into a gun belt. Now, there are a lot of companies out there that offer all kinds of gun belts, made out of synthetic materials, natural materials, all sorts of stuff, right? Something that's very common is like a nylon belt with a polymer or sometimes even a steel stiffener that's put into the fibers, kind of sandwiched between 2 layers of fabric or two layers of ballistic nylon. That really does a great job of holding up the weight of your implements that you're carrying for self-defense. However, those are also not very comfortable. Those synthetic materials, especially the stiffener that's put on the inside, whether it be polymer or some sort of metal, that stiffener put inside as a core, that does not really flex with your natural body mechanics very well. And what that ends up doing is it creates pinch points, especially kind of like on your hip region, your sciatic area. It creates pinch points that become very uncomfortable over time. And those pinch points can actually create nerve damage over time too. I used to carry for years with it was a nylon gun belt with a polymer stiffener in there. And it was just not very comfortable. And it wasn't until a few years after carrying it that way, I switched over back to like a leather, kind of a trouser belt for a while. And then I found that that trouser belt just it did what I expected it to do. It did a very poor job of holding up the self-defense implements. And what happens over time is since that material is very soft, instead of holding your implements up or tucking them in towards the body a little bit like a good gun belt should, that cheap department store trouser belt allows the weight of the magazine to kind of pull the magazine and the pistol kind of outward a little bit. And what that creates is printing underneath the garment. So after that experience, I selected a proper leather gun belt that was made out of the proper thickness of material. And since then, I've never turned back. So let's get into thing 1 that you should look for in a proper gun belt. First off is the buckle. You want to select a gun belt that has a really good, solid buckle that's not going to break. On our Gunbelt 01, our buckle is actually forged steel. So that's a very, very tough buckle. Very, very tough. It's not going to snap or break over time. It's just going to stand up to a lot of harsh use. So that is one thing to definitely look for. A style buckle with a roller on it is also handy when you're cinching down that belt when you're kind of getting it ready for the day. That roller just really helps the material slide through that buckle and get into place so that you can lock it in. And this is more of a traditional buckle. Something else that you can do with this, since this is removable by use of our hardware, you can actually swap this out if you have more of like if you're in Texas and you like a Texas style, kind of like a rodeo buckle, you can actually swap that out for a rodeo buckle. So that's kind of like a niche and also neat feature to that. Over here, this has a slightly different buckle. So this is our Cobra gun belt. So what we've done with the Cobra gun belt is we've taken the same 14-ounce steer hide leather, and you can actually tell that this is legit my personal carry belt. Same with this one, how it's taken the shape of my hips. And I'll talk about that a little bit here when it comes to flexibility. But the buckle on this guy, instead of having a traditional buckle like our traditional Gunbelt 01 has, the Cobra Gunbelt utilizes a Cobra buckling system, which is made out of forged aluminum. And you just put those two ends together and you push them together and they just click into place. And these are actually a climbing rated buckle. This is a rock solid buckle. This is not going to fail. These are very expensive buckles too, which is why the Cobra Gunbelt costs $100. But I really like that. Just the number one reason why I really like this is when I don my EDC gear for the day, this is something that I use as a mental check in the box. When I click that together, I instantly feel like Batman. And that's like a mental check for me. All right, I'm going from condition white to condition yellow, according to Colonel Jeff Cooper's color codes of mindset. And that is just something that I use to help prepare me for the day ahead, whether it's just a normal day of like going about normal everyday activities, or if, you know, something goes down, my mind is ready for that fight, because preparing your mindset is very, very important when it comes to successfully making it through that terrible experience of having to be in a gunfight. All right, the next thing that we're going to talk about is rigidity. Now, this is something that a lot of other gunbelt brands get really right by using synthetic material with a polymer stiffener in there. That's super rigid. We need that rigidity, again, to help hold up our equipment, not just all day, but for year after year after year, to hold your equipment in its proper place, to have it repeatable and accessible, and have it consistent. So that rigidity is very important. So this is a brand new, never used Gunbelt 01 from 1791. See, it's straight as an arrow. And if you can look at the thickness, that is legit 14-ounce steer hide leather. Let me actually grab a dial caliper and we'll measure that. All right, so we're going to measure this guy here. That is 0.258. 0.258. So that is within the range of what we would call 14-ounce steer hide leather, American steer hide leather. Very, very thick, very robust. Definitely going to hold up to everyday wear and tear and support the weight of your equipment. Something else that I like to do, because if you're like me, you probably don't carry a dial caliper in your pocket. You can simply just grab the belt. And what I like to do is the crush resistance test. So I'll just grab the belt and I'll just give it a squeeze and see if I can crush it. And you can see my knuckles are turning white. I'm really squeezing this thing with everything I've got. I cannot crush that belt. If this was a department store belt, I would have to put almost no pressure on it and I would like immediately crush that belt with the strength of my hand. I'm not saying I'm like He-Man or something, but like, you know, I'm a man with strong hands. I could very easily crush that department store belt. That's not what you want, because that is inevitably going to create a situation where it's not going to stand up to the weight of these implements inside the waistband, and they're going to start to kind of tip outboard over time, and that's no bueno. We don't want that. All right, so the next thing, it's a bit of an oxymoron. The next thing that we're looking for is flexibility. So some of you might be saying, how do we have rigidity and flexibility at the same time? Well, let me talk about that. So we need the rigidity that we need to have that vertical crush resistance, so it holds up the weight of your implements, not just over the period of a day, but over the period of multiple years, right? So that's what that vertical crush resistance is going to do for us. But the flexibility comes into play in how the natural materials are going to conform around your body. So as you can see right there, since this is made up out of leather, which is a natural material, it's going to conform around the shape of my hips, my gun, my magazine carrier. It's gonna bend and flex with me, even though it's rigid, it's vertically rigid, but horizontally it's very flexible, and it's going to take the shape of my body and take the shape of my stuff. So a couple of examples here. This one's brand new. This Gunbelt 01 is brand new. This Gunbelt 01, this is the signature brown version. This is one of my personal gun belts. And you can see how it has taken the natural curvature of my hips. It's also taken some curvature on my implements. This one in particular, I actually carry with my BH01 holster and my single mag carrier. So when I want to carry outside the waistband, I use this belt, which matches my BH01. And this has really just taken the form of my hips. So this is an outside the waistband gun belt for me, right? One thing that it also does, the imprintations, I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to make it a word. The imprintations of the buckle right there, that's just a quick visual indicator like, oh, this is where I like to carry when I'm carrying outside the waistband, and this is the notch that I like to carry on when I'm carrying inside the waistband a little bit further out. So that is my Gunbelt 01. Now let's look at my Cobra gun belt. So this is one that I carry pretty much every day. Again, it's taken the same curvature of my hips, very comfortable. You notice you look at it as flat. The material literally just conformed to my hip line, right? Which is very nice. But this also has bump outs according to stuff that I carry. So this bump out, the natural material, has taken the form of my magazine carrier that I carry inside the waistband. And then there's another kind of a bump out there that has taken the form of my my pistol. You can actually see how it's flat right there. That's where it has taken the form of my holster and my my inside the waistband belt clip on my holster. So it's more of like almost a squared up bump out. So that's what I mean by flexibility. You need to have something that has the flexibility that you need to follow your hips, but also something that has that vertical crush resistance where that natural material, although it is flexible, it's still very strong and it's going to hold the weight of your equipment. Again, not just all day. You're not looking for a one-trick pony here. You're looking for something that's going to last you a lifetime. The next thing that we're looking for is hardware. So quality hardware, not Chinesium hardware, quality hardware. So we use, again, steel hardware on all of our implements, and the hardware that we selected actually has a bit of a bevel to it. That just helps prevent wear and tear on the inside of the belt, and it also helps the material slide over top of that and not get snagged or hung up on it at all. So that's the hardware that we have for the Gunbelt 01. The hardware that we have on the Cobra gun belt is very, very similar. On the male end, we have one-sided hardware because the male end is permanent on this guy. Well, semi-permanent. You can remove it for repair or maintenance or whatever. You can just back out those screws, and you can take that male buckle off. This is actually very, very handy. We actually had a customer just a couple of weeks ago who the gun belt that he received, there was just an issue with the buckle itself, just kind of like a 1 in a million chance where these Austria Alpine buckles that we got in, there was just a QC issue on the one buckle. And he reached out to us and we sent him out a completely new buckle set, like next day air. Boom. Dunzo. And because both sides are removable, the customer was able to just back out those screws, take that off, put the new one on, put the new screws in, Bob's your uncle, right? The top end of the hardware on the male side is actually has 0 drive head to it, just because that's meant to be, again, semi-permanent. The back side, though, does have those Phillips heads so that you can still take this off if you need to and then replace that if that were to be a bad buckle or whatever. Again, 1 in a million type of situation. And then something that I like to do is when I reinstall those, I just use a little bit of blue Loctite. And then on the female side, it's going to come with 2 sets of hardware that have that same kind of that chamfered dome head hardware. You can just back that out and reinstall that. Basically, the way this works is you do the sizing on the Cobra buckle, you do the sizing with the female side. What you're going to do is you're just going to find what holes that line up with not just your waist, but your waist with your concealed carry implements inside the waistband. And then you're just going to adjust this female side to the holes that fit with your waistline and with your concealed carry implements, and you're going to put the hardware in. This does come with 2 sets of hardware. I just use one on this one just because I'm on the I'm using the smallest size belt for my waist size, but I'm basically on the last set of holes there, so I just use one. So one more thing I wanted to preface the difference between these two. This is not going to work with closed belt loops like on our BH series of holsters with closed belt loops. This is more designed for an inside the waistband belt clip like we see here with our TAC Kydex IWB. Just slips right over the top just like that. If you're a BH holster fan, you're going to need our traditional Gunbelt 01 with the open-ended male end right there. All right, now the last thing, and it's definitely not the most important thing, but it's most certainly peace of mind, is a lifetime warranty. But moreover than that, a lifetime warranty that you'll never need to use. So like I said before, we did have an issue where we had a customer get a Cobra gun belt that the Cobra buckle, it was specifically the female side, was not working properly. So we just sent him a completely new set of female and male buckles just immediately next day air just to take care of that cat. But that's because we have a warranty. A lot of belts that you might get out there, they're just not going to have that great of a warranty, or maybe no warranty at all, especially not like your cheap department store belt. That's going to have no meaningful warranty whatsoever. Here at 1791, we have a lifetime warranty, and we take care of our products and we take care of our customers. We just want to make sure that no matter what, when you're walking around town and you're carrying with our equipment, you're not only backed by stuff that's handmade one at a time, stuff that is like rock solid and is going to meet your needs, not just for the day, but for a lifetime. We want to make sure that we have that warranty backing you up. Because if something should happen, especially if it's like a material defect like we had with that other Cobra buckle that we replaced for a customer, we can replace it just like that, and you're going to be right back in action with your equipment, and so that you can trust it. So again, that warranty is not like, it's not the most important thing, but it's like the backup plan. You know what I mean? It is added reassurance that when you buy something of quality, you're going to be taken care of on the back end too. So that's all I got, guys, for gun belts. We hope that you found this informative. If so, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And until next time, train hard and carry your gun.